Hey Most Amazing Top 10 family, I'm your host Trey Duran and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Lying is one of the best ways to get out of any sticky situation. You can just tell every person you know what they want to hear so it makes them happy and you can hope that they don't run into each other. And if they do, you can just vanish and go to live in the woods for the rest of your life. I don't know, it's a good option. I mean, if climate change continues, we might all be living out there anyways. But sometimes a lie can get a little out of hand and really flip the world upside down, and I'm going to dig into some of these stories with today's list of top 10 scary lies that we thought were true. Also stick around for the whole list because I'm going to be doing some pet shoutouts that you guys love so much. If you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. And if anyone needs some merch, you should check out the link in the description below and use the offer code MA10. That'll give you $5 off, which means you can grab a shirt for only $10, which is a sweet deal. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. At number 10, we have Enron was a stable company. Some people watching may be old enough to remember the largest crash in company history ever. Well, it wasn't the largest, but it was one of the largest. Enron was a massive energy company. They were considered one of the most profitable and stable companies in the world. Little did everyone know that Enron was committing accounting fraud, and the entire time they were lying about their financials. They were nowhere near as profitable of a company as they said they were, and people had billions of dollars invested in this company, and then one day it was all gone. The value of Enron was $78 billion on the stock market back in 2001, and once information leaked, it disappeared almost overnight. People lost their life savings, thousands of people lost their jobs, lives were ruined. The former president is now serving 24 years in prison. Well, that's what you get for lying to millions of people about the state of your company. At number 9, we have Poyais. Not as many people got screwed over in this con job, but it did leave a bunch of people stranded, and most of them probably died. Gregor McGregor pulled off one of the biggest cons of his day, and people should have seen it coming. He had two of the same names. You don't trust anyone who has two of the same names. His name is for sure made up. He's lying to you from the get-go. The year was 1821, and Gregor was walking down the streets of Scotland, telling all the people there that there was a beautiful new land called Poyais that was ripe for the taking. It was a lush land with 8 million acres of untapped resources. Best of all, he was king of this land, so anyone who came there would get the support they needed from this man to help them start a new life. People excited with the proposition started to give Gregor some good coin and plan for a trip to a better life. It's estimated that Gregor was able to swindle 250 people and in total walked away with about 200,000 euros, and all the suckers that fell for this guy's trick got on this boat and sent over to this new land. They ended up in what would now be Honduras, but there was no King Gregor, just endless jungle and a bunch of people finding out that they got duped. At number 8, we have Anna Anderson. When a revolution strikes, make sure you tuck your neck in because a lot of people are going to start chopping off heads. It was 1918 and the Russian Revolution led people to the Russian royal family. They had enough of this monarchy and decided that it was time to invoke their own justice by executing the entire royal family. In total, there were 7 people that were killed. There was the Tsar, his wife, his son, and then their 4 daughters. When you want to overthrow a kingdom, you better make sure you destroy the whole bloodline. Then 2 years later, a person popped up, Anna Anderson. She started spreading word that during the revolution, one of the Tsar's daughters, Anastasia, had escaped. Not only that, but that she was in fact this missing daughter. News of this spread fast, and when word reached the newspapers, it quickly bumped her up to celebrity status. Most people connected to the family were convinced that Anna Anderson was a fraud, but this didn't stop her from taking the case to court and trying to win some moolah from the newly established Russian government. She battled in court for over 10 years, but in the end didn't get a single penny. However, she gained a ton of supporters and was living a famous lifestyle for a time. She also never dropped the act until the day she died. Later DNA testing proved that all of it was false. At number 7, we have P.T. Barnum's circus. Monsters come in all shapes and sizes. P.T. Barnum was not only a con artist but an evil man. He ran a circus throughout America, and his biggest attraction was an elderly black woman. He claimed that she was 161 years old and she worked with George Washington as his nurse. That is a pretty wild claim to make and obviously untrue, but they were working together, right? It was races coming together in a time when that was unheard of, to make a bright future for all the biracial relationships to come. Well, you would be 100% wrong if you thought that. Barnum was using this woman as a slave. Now, this was after slavery was illegal, but Barnum was a clever man, and through a few legal balancing acts, he found a way he could lease this woman for $1,000. Could you imagine being leased out to a person? She was forced to work alongside him until she died. He then exploited her further by having a public autopsy on her body, which revealed that she was only 84 years old and that he was a massive liar. At number 6 we have the Lehman brothers. Could you imagine being in charge of $600 billion and it all goes down the drain overnight? Not only that, but being the beginning of the worst financial crisis in the 21st century. Well, the Lehman brothers were just that. When their company was caught with fraud, everything was over and it was revealed to the world that the American banking system had been screwing the entire population for years with false loans that the banks couldn't back, which in turn led to the ripple effect that smacked the whole world in the face and saw millions of people globally jobless. All because people like the Lehman brothers thought they could screw over people over and over again and get away with it. Their company would go under and end up being the biggest bankruptcy in world history. At number 5 we have Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. The threat of a nuclear bomb going off or some sort of chemical agent being unleashed in a major city seemed like a very real threat after the 9/11 attacks, and it makes sense if an attack like that is able to get through, then what else could possibly work its way into America? It was a very frightening time. It was also just the grounds America needed to go to war with Iraq. Then after years of conflict and hundreds of thousands of deaths, and even the end of Saddam Hussein, there were never weapons of mass destruction found. I think a lot of us can feel relief that this one was a lie. Now you know you don't need to worry about getting hit by a sweet hot nuke and radiation in the middle of the night. Well, unless Russia shoots a nuke, or China, or India. Well, I guess maybe we should still be afraid of nukes. At number 4 we have R.J. Reynolds' opinions on cigarettes. For a long time, tobacco companies told people there was nothing wrong with smoking, that there was no link between cigarettes and cancer, that cigarettes were not addictive, and that someone could start and stop smoking whenever they wanted. In the first inception of cigarettes, it was perfectly fine for people to smoke inside a restaurant, and people used to smoke on planes. James W. Johnson was the CEO of the massive cigarette company R.J. Reynolds. This guy was dealing out more death than some of the worst warlords to ever walk the planet, and he famously said that cigarette smoking is no more addictive than coffee, tea, or Twinkies. And you know, for a long time people believed that smoking was fine. People would smoke around their kids, people would smoke in cars, people would light up after a workout, they didn't care. But now we are much more informed and we know that smoking is one of the worst habits you can pick up and without a doubt will lead to an early death. At number 3 we have Watergate. I'm too young to remember this, but I still know that this was a massive scandal. In 1974, the President of the United States had to quit his job because people were bugging his office and they quickly caught on that he was lying, that he lied to the entire United States. Tapes were released of the president, there was an FBI whistleblower who told the Washington Post what was going on, and everything started to unravel in the American government. Have you ever told a lie so big that you had to quit your job and an entire country of people started hating you? Me neither. At number 2, there's nowhere to land. This is one of the largest scams in history, and I love this story because this dude just lied. No one checked in and he almost got away with it. Emmanuel Nwede is one of the greatest con artists in history. The Nigerian man used to work as the director of the Bank of Nigeria, so he knew a thing or two about money and he saw the opportunity to cash in. He got in contact with Nelson Sakaguchi. This guy was in charge of a major bank in Brazil. Now he had a proposition for Sakaguchi. There was a major airport that was planned to be built in Nigeria and he wanted to see if Sakaguchi would be interested in purchasing the airport. Sakaguchi was like, oh, this sounds like a great deal, and he went all in. Over the course of the next 3 years, Sakaguchi paid Nwede $242 million for the purchase of said airport, and here's the kicker, the airport never existed. He sold the guy a fake airport, and that is one of the biggest episodes of Punk'd I have ever heard of. And for the number 1 spot we have There Is No Famine in the Soviet Union. This is one of the most brutal acts of leadership in history. The Soviet Union wanted total control of everything close to it, and the Ukraine has always been a little bit rebellious, so Joseph Stalin wanted to put a stop to this by taking away their food supply and forcing them all to get their stock from the Soviet Union. So he wiped out their food stocks and didn't have enough food supply for everyone who he took food away from. This led to massive starvation. Literally millions of people died from this, but Stalin kept telling everyone that there was no famine. Everyone believed him, and across the world people were convinced that everything was fine in the Soviet Union. No food relief was ever sent to these people who were dying from starvation because of this man's lies. Alright everyone, that has been our list. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and as promised I'm going to be doing some more pet shoutouts. Remember, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. I pick new pets every day, so if you don't get picked one day, message back another day. And without taking any longer, let's shout out some pets. First we have Ryan's dog Hallie. Look at this good boy, he's just chilling out. Such a beautiful dog. Kath sent in a picture of Bean. Look at this nice close-up shot, he's such a cute little boy. And hi Kath, hi, how you doing? Then we have the little kitty Dexter. I can tell this dude is a good cuddler just from looking at him. Daniel sent in Harley. This guy has so much hair, it's amazing. Next we have the cutest picture of Bundy. Look at this guy with this big tongue out, I just want to snug him so bad. And finally Chris sent in a picture of his cat. This guy has got some chonk on him and I love it. Alright everyone, that has been our list. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Until next time, I've been Che Arena, and you all should probably stop lying, unless it's like totally worth it.